Hello, I'm Jennifer Whittington, Vice President of Program from Prevent Blindness Florida, and you're watching Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hi, I'm Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. And today we have an agency with us that is not really government, but in many ways interacts with every level of government here in the state of Florida. Jennifer Whittington, nice to have you along. You're Vice President of Programs for Prevent Blindness Florida, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Tell me why I ought to know about Prevent Blindness Florida.
Well,
I already know, but tell them.
Prevent Blindness Florida is a great organization. We have had a mission of preventing blindness and preserving sight for many years. It dates back to one of our founding board members even, Helen Keller. So she leaves a great legacy of doing great things in the community, and we truly care about the lifetime of the eye from birth until death. And so it's not just about children, it's not just about adults or senior adults, it's about all of the stages along the way of healthy vision. And we're doing some great things in the community, so we just wanted to come around and tell you about them, and we appreciate you inviting us.
Well, you know, it's really important to me particularly because I remember my mother had macular degeneration back when nobody was really quite sure what macular degeneration was,
Right.
except for she was losing her sight.
Right,
And there weren't very many services available to help her,
right,
and she was a working woman and not a lot of money.
right.
And it's really nice to know that there are people out there now who are taking up that and giving services out to people like my mother and to children. If you can't see the blackboard, you lose interest, right?
Absolutely. The link between education and vision is really one that we take for granted sometimes. And a lot of times children at a certain age don't know that they even have a vision issue, so they can't necessarily verbalize that to the teacher or their parents. So they may act out in different ways. It may look like a behavior problem. It may look like they're not paying attention. They may be misdiagnosed even at times. And we are making strides. In Hillsborough County, we are required to screen the vision of children in the kindergarten, first and third grade. But vision does change dramatically from year to
After
year.
the third grade, that's it?
That's it. That's it. And
I think
that's
we
only
can put a little more emphasis as it goes on.
and also early identification, so the preschool ages.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the beauty about this grant with the Children's Board of Hillsborough County that we hold is, because that's focused on the younger age. If we identify children in the early treatable stages, then we have a better chance of actually saving the vision of that eye. If they are a referral and they need an exam and glasses with a partner optometrist, then we can get them used to wearing those glasses and be more confident and comfortable so that proper learning can take place. One of my favorite stories was when we saw the PAL school, Police Athletic School out in Bradenton, and it was an F-rated school. We went and screened all of the kids there. 75% of them failed.
Wow,
75% of them failed. We got the exams and the glasses for those children, and they took the FCATs that year. They became a B-rated school after that. We went back the next year, saw the remainder of the children and the incoming children, and got them the exams and glasses again, and they took their exams again and became an A-rated school. So
Wow.
the Herald Tribune wrote it up, and it's just an undeniable link between education and vision. If you can't see your book to read, if you can't see the board, proper learning is not taking place. So we want to make that easier.
Think of the economic impact there. Really, you've got a school that's an F-rated school, you've got children who aren't learning and who are going to go into the justice system sooner or later. And I don't know what it costs to do the screening of the whole school and that, but it certainly can't be anywhere near the cost of having to deal with this problem down the line.
The economic burden on the United States in general for vision issues is in the billions of dollars. So we really focus on preventative measures, early identification, things that we emphasize through this grant that I was telling you about with the children's board. We also have an educational portion of it that we can emphasize things like preventative sports eye safety, wearing proper polycarbonate shatterproof lenses during sports and games play. For the younger kids, baseball is a big eye injury sport, and for around the age of 13, 14 and up, basketball is a big eye injury sport with all the elbows being thrown and everything. But there's...
How do you get kids to wear these glasses? So I'm thinking to myself, and I'll tell this on myself, I have a little bit of a problem with balance. I had several surgeries and everything. And the VA said they want me to use some kind of cane or something. All right? But I'm saying, no, I'll look old. I don't want to do that. I am old, but I don't want to look old. And I'm thinking to myself, here I am at my age resisting what I need.
Right.
And how do you take that 8-year-old, that 6-year-old, that 7-year-old, and get them to do it? There has to be, you've got to be a wizard.
Well, I'm not quite a wizard, but we do try to start early. And they make all sorts of different styles now, and part of the beauty of it is getting the child to pick their own so that they will wear them and matches their uniform or whatever. We also focus on giving the entire team the sports eye safety goggles.
Well, that's great.
So
yeah.
that they're
so if
not...
everybody's wearing them.
Exactly. There's also what's called rec specs or sports specs. So if a child already has a refractive error, they can actually participate in sports because there's a prescription in their sports eye safety goggles. So it's not just goggles over their glasses, it's an actual prescription pair. Also, if the adult is in gameplay, or let's say wearing a helmet during biking, wearing swim goggles during swimming, wearing a shield during football play, whatever the sport requires, if the adult is wearing the proper gear, the child will really model that behavior. So
getting some adults to do that. I have a very good friend who was a selectee. Well, he wasn't quite select. Everybody expected him to become general. He's a full bird colonel in the United States Air Force. Went out and played racquetball at the base against regulations without wearing eye guards, caught a ball straight in the eye, went blind, lost his flying status, lost his star. I mean...
It's devastating.
And it's so hard to get people to do these things. So I can see where your education programs have to be right up at the top.
Well, we really are grateful for the funding with the Children's Board to offer these presentations because some of the things we may think are common sense, but we take for granted. And we only have 2 eyes, so we have to protect them. We do live in the Sunshine State, so we are trying to get the messaging out about wearing proper UV safety at all times, not just on sunny days, but cloudy days.
What does UV do to your eyes? Besides, I mean, I know it can. It can fry the skin. Does it do the same thing to the eyes?
It can. We can have corneal sunburns. We tell the little ones, just like wearing sunblock on our skin, that's what proper UV safety does for our eyes. It can prevent certain things from flying in our eyes, but all of the doctors on our board say that without wearing proper UV safety at a certain point, all of us will get cataracts. There's a specific link between UV exposure and
really?
Cataracts. Absolutely, absolutely. So we're really getting that messaging out about wearing them. You'll see on the news in the morning with the weather, the UV index is XYZ, and you'll notice that Florida is always very high. And so it doesn't have to be the fanciest pair. In fact, we give them out all the time at our events for children and adults.
So there's a connection between cataracts and wearing the proper sunglasses.
Absolutely.
And UV protection.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, everybody hear that out there? Cataracts, UV protection, save you a surgery, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if the little ones see you wearing them, they won't feel bad about putting them on too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of different links that we can actually, just different eye diseases that if we know a little bit more about them, like you mentioned, age-related macular degeneration, that's devastating at a certain point in life. It robs the central vision. So
My mother said it was like looking into a mirror that was broken.
yeah.
There was pieces that you
Yeah.
could see, but not everything.
Yep, kind of like cobweb pieces sometimes. Diabetics will also experience that phenomenon. Cataracts is like a clouding of the lens, so it's kind of like a cloudy haze all the time. Sometimes you can see it with the naked eye. Sometimes your dog might even get a cataract. But age-related macular degeneration, there's certain eye vitamins that can be taken. We emphasize certain foods that can be eaten that are full of antioxidants.
Really,
and
what's give us maybe 3 foods that
Well, it's not just
should
about carrots
concentrate on.
anymore. We like to talk about
You never saw a rabbit wearing glasses. So.
I've never seen one either, but there's something about that. But it's really about picking what the person likes to eat, and things that are rich in green, like spinach, kale, or bright, like blueberries, full of lutein, like tomatoes. Those types of food are filled with antioxidants and lutein, and could possibly stop or slow the progression of age-related macular degeneration. Also, things like eye vitamins that are sold over the counter, they actually will say that on the bottle itself. So it's great. At a certain age, if you develop an eye disease or disorder like that, it can be very isolating. It can lead to other things like depression, because suddenly the things that you used to do, like sewing or driving or seeing the grandchildren's faces, you can't, and now you're robbed of that basic need.
What other organizations have you partnered with? You mentioned the Children's Board.
Right.
What
Right.
other things do you do with these other organizations?
Right. The overarching funding is through the Children's Board of Hillsborough County or Allegheny Franciscan Ministries. So we get to see both children and adults through those grants. And through those grants, we partner with other agencies in the community. So for instance, the Children's Board of Hillsborough County, we partner with resource centers in the community, Hispanic Services Council, different VPKs in the area.
So you do have bilingual capabilities, I take it.
We definitely do.
Okay.
We have certified screeners, and I'd say 8 of them are bilingual. So
Okay, great.
we send different teams out every single day, and our calendar that's open to the public is on our website. As far as adults go, we see a lot of people through Salvation Army, a lot of our different health departments in the area, like TGH, Ruskin Health Center, a lot in Pinellas County, like Martin Luther King in St. Petersburg. We see one in Pinellas Park. We see Homeless Emergency Project in Clearwater. And various...
So how many counties do you take care of?
We take care of 5 different counties under different grants.
Okay.
But the main ones are Hillsborough and Pinellas with the current grants that I'm speaking of today. And those are free. They're open to the public. Adults and children are welcome to come.
That's a nice number, free.
That
That's really, most of us love that number, especially, I live down in Sun City Center, and believe me, those seniors know the word free.
free is good. Free is good, which we're very blessed to have
So
the funding.
if I wanted to come to one of your screenings, where do I go to find out where it is?
Well, you would go to our website,
Okay, the one we're showing on the screen.
Right. Or you could call us. We'd be happy to direct you to the nearest one to you. You would then come. You wouldn't have to bring anything other than if you already wear glasses, and we'd screen you with the glasses on to see if they were still working for you. Then we'd register you there with some paperwork, screen you there. And then if you fail the screening and don't already have insurance that covers vision, we would then give you an application to see if we can help with the follow-up of the exam with an optometrist and the glasses for free.
What does the screening amount to? When you say screening, I'm thinking, is this a vision test or? Is it just a pre-vision test, or?
It's different for adults versus children. We screen upwards of 10,000 people per year under these grants. And for adults, we use an optech machine that screens the near and the distance visual
Okay.
acuity. We also use an FDT machine that can test the visual field for certain peripheral vision issues that might indicate certain eye disorders or diseases. For children, it's not about the Leah chart anymore necessarily. A lot of people have gone into machine-based screening, autorefractor, rather than chart-based screening, just due to a lot of different reasons. There's no language barrier when you're using a machine. There's no understanding issue. There's some kids don't know their alphabet yet, and some of them
So
don't
it's
know
how
their-
many bunnies do you see rather
Right.
than ABC?
Exactly. So the autorefractor for children can tell us the sphere, the cylinder, and the difference of both eyes. So that tells us pretty much everything all at once that a chart used to. And so that's the
Neat.
near and the distance. The cylinder is if there's an irregular curvature of the eye, that could indicate some level of astigmatism. And then the difference between both eyes, that would indicate if the child is at risk for amblyopia or lazy eye. And amblyopia affects children if we catch it before the age of 5, but really before the age of 9 in the early treatable stages. It's characterized by one weak eye versus a stronger eye. So there's patching exercises.
Is that the old lazy eye thing?
It's the lazy eye thing. Yep.
We used to call it lazy eye. It's not lazy anymore. It's an amblyopia.
We want to be positive with our messaging to kids and
Yeah,
not
it
make
does.
them,
It's not your fault.
Right.
Rather than saying you're being lazy, right?
Exactly. And they already have to experience other things that kids don't have to experience. Sometimes if there's a patching going on, they can be made fun of with, being likened to
You
a
don't
pirate.
give them a sword and let them be a pirate?
We don't do that either. But that's one technique that the doctors will use. Some eye exercises. There's also specialized glasses that can be worn. And then if it's a severe case of amblyopia, there might be surgery that's needed.
And we want to catch that. How early is it? Can it be caught? Let's put it that
Well,
way.
there are adult cases of adult strabismus or amblyopia, but really before the age of 9, but before the age of 5 would be optimal. And then
So that gets into your preschool screening.
exactly.
So
exactly.
a parent, be good for any parent when they find there's a screening, just to take that preschool child
Absolutely.
in. No cost.
At no cost. And if they are found to have amblyopia or lazy eye, we are under our parent company, Prevent Blindness America. We have an amblyopia support group. It has a sticker chart and a patch eye dog and certain things. They'll remember your birthday. So it's less of an isolating, lonely group to be in, and more of like,
Very few people want to be, you see teens wearing all these wild things, but it isn't that they want to be different, they want to be what the herd is.
That's right. That's right. And besides those types of screenings for little ones, we also do a color blindness screening that's predominantly in boys, but if they're caught with a color blindness issue, it's not that something can be done, but there's an awareness. And a lot of our standardized testing is in green font. So the child can be placed in a class that has some black font on the standardized testing and have a better chance of success.
Well, lets the teacher know too,
Exactly.
that I've got a problem with colors.
Exactly.
My father was colorblind, and he always told the story when he was a kid. I mean, we're going way back here, where they had a little paint box with the little watercolor tabs. And he wasn't a bad artist. My grandmother was pretty good. And one day somebody switched all these things around, and he painted a god-awful picture, got whipped for it in school.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't even his fault.
Right. It's
So
not.
this is good if the teacher knows.
Absolutely. My nephew was the same way. He had a color blindness issue. We didn't identify him till he was in middle school. And so the teacher would write on a whiteboard in green letters with the pen, and he wouldn't see anything.
Had the blue-green.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just some awareness and there's all different strides being made. I'm sure in our lifetimes there might be some specialized glasses that they could wear and actually help with color blindness in general, but we're not there yet.
In Sun City Center in the Community Association, one of the clubs is called the Low Vision Club. And people a lot of times think of Sun City as a fairly high income area. And in many respects, I will admit it is. However, not everybody has high income there, and there are a lot of people who could maybe use some help. If that organization wanted you to come out and do a screening in the association, how many people would have to sign up beforehand, or what would be the requirements for doing something like that?
Well, they could just contact us. That's still in Hillsborough County. It would still be covered by this this funding. We would love to see at least 15 signed up.
At a minimum?
At a minimum, right.
That's not bad.
It's not. It's not. We could certainly go up. We've seen 100 in a day. We would just need to know beforehand so we could send the proper amount of screeners on the specific day. But we wouldn't want to overwhelm or underwhelm anyone.
That's true. But if you were overwhelmed, you could always come back.
Exactly.
And that would be good.
Right.
What if someone in that group is found to need help, but they're not financially able to get it? How do they get additional help? It's one thing to know, I mean, I already can't see, so I mean, I know I'm going to flunk your test. Well, not me particularly. I've got good glasses thanks to the VA. But some of them don't have that.
Right.
They're knowing pretty much they're going to flunk your test when they come in.
Right.
What would be the requirements for getting additional assistance?
Well, we would explain that at the screening level itself. We would, if the client does not have insurance that covers vision, if they don't, have Medicaid or even help through the VA or private insurance, and we would give them an application. It goes by around 200% of poverty guidelines, and they would just fill it out and send it back to us in the mail, and then we would be able to see if they qualify for assistance through us. We see a lot of different people under a lot of different circumstances, a lot of people trying to get back into employment.
Yeah, there'd be another area.
Exactly. The Salvation Army, where we screen a lot, the Spring Domestic Violence Shelter. We recently just got some funding through the Verizon Foundation to see all 42 domestic violence shelters in the entire state.
Oh my!
It's a big issue because the victim's glasses are sometimes broken intentionally, or they have had to leave them behind in haste.
You're not leaving me. I'm breaking your glasses. You can't find.
It's another means of power and control. So
right.
That simple link of glasses, just getting them the help that they need, can get them back driving, can get them possibly getting a job on their own and restarting their life. Some may want to go back to school and get educated, and we would help the adult and the child. A lot of our clients are truck drivers that have failed the vision test for the truck driving license. So we help them get the proper exam and glasses that they need, and then that's the only link that they needed to get their employment back. So we see a lot of different people in a lot of different cases, and with the turn in the economy, a lot of people that never found themselves in those shoes before. And so we were able to help on a lot of different levels.
I think what I'm hearing from you, and it's a very consistent theme, I invest a little bit through your organization, and I get a very big social return on it.
Very much so, very much so. We're grateful for the funding that we have, and it just has ramifications beyond what you would normally think. You and I might have insurance that covers vision, so we just use our insurance and go to the optometrist and get an exam and glasses. But for the person that might be picking between food for their children or themselves versus glasses, I mean, that's the choice is easy, they're not going to go get the exam and glasses. So it's just about getting the word out that we exist and we're here to help. We're a resource that you can come to and trust, and we're going to do the right thing and try to get you the help that you need.
I think when I look at this, and I think of a couple of points you made, one particularly with children. If I can't see the board, I'm going to lose interest. I'm
Right.
going to get bored.
That's right.
And then I'm going to act up, and then somebody's going to try to drug me down because they'll think I'm hyperactive or ADD or ADHD or all these different letters they put on kids.
That's right.
And maybe it's just that they can't see.
It sometimes is as simple as that. And we don't want to set them up for failure. We want to identify them early. We're fighting for legislation to make it mandatory to screen kids at an early age for that very reason. And we're not there yet, but some legislation that's sort of up to be passed. It looks like a bright future. So we would also like some consistency in the screening methodology and some consistency in the ages that we see countywide in Florida. So we have to do the right things by our kids and looking at all of the options of what it may be.
You know, it's the old pay me now, pay me later,
Exactly.
but pay me a whole bunch more later. You put one of these children in some kind of care, and it's going to cost you anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 a year. Be a whole lot easier to check to see that they had the proper glasses.
Absolutely.
And even provide them to them if that's what it needs to be done.
Absolutely. And kids are kids. I mean, if they get the glasses, sometimes they break the glasses. That's what happens. So
I would have, yes. I've even broken a few. In fact, had one whipped off my face on a sailboat and lost them completely.
it happens, more often than we'd like to say. But we also have a program that helps just because Medicaid will cover an exam and glasses once per year. But if the child has been seen within the year and they have a valid script, we'd be happy to just get the frames and lenses for them with that same script. So yeah, if there's an issue and you think that you might not qualify, give us a call. We'd be happy to look at all of the options, and we may know of a resource out there that could help, even if it's not us.
Well, it sounds like you really have a great organization, and I hope all of you will either give them a call, go to one of the screenings. If you're a club, group, or organization, you want to have a screening, you've got about 15 people, they'll come out and do it. So don't just let this go. Give them a call. Jennifer, thank you for coming,
Thank you
being
very
on
much.
the program. I'm Bill Hodges. This is Spotlight on Government. You're unique, you're special, and you're great. Tell yourself often because you are, and we'll see you on the next Spotlight on Government. And again, Jennifer, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.